If you enjoy hearing these eerie tales and want more to help you drift off or keep you up at night, don't forget to tap the like button. It really helps the channel grow. Man in the Basement. When I was about 16, I was babysitting for a family friend. I took the girl, Maddie, outside to play on the swing set in the backyard, and it was getting pretty dark, around 8 or 8:30. I started getting a weird feeling, like we were being watched. I looked around and didn't see anyone, but I was still freaked out, so I took her inside since she had to go to bed soon anyway. I put her to sleep at around 9 and start watching TV in the living room. About 10 minutes later, I hear rustling outside the house. I stupidly go to check it out, and I don't see anything, so I just assume it was an animal and go back inside. About 20 minutes later, I hear footsteps from Maddie's room, so I go upstairs to put her back to bed. I open her door and see that she is still fast asleep in her bed. It's dark in the room, but I can see some stuff because of the light from the window. I look in the corner to see the shadowy silhouette kneeling in the corner. I immediately turn on the light to see an actual man there. He tries to run out the door, but I kick him in the nuts. I call the police, and it turns out the man had been living in the basement for about 6 months, going in and out through a hole in the side of the house, and he had been watching the family while they were outside and while they were sleeping. I haven't babysat since. Recent true highway story. I'm a 32-year-old female, and this is something that happened to me only 2 nights ago. My husband Kevin and I were on the porch smoking a cigarette. It was about 9 o'clock at night. We live in far out the woods, right off of a stretch of highway that's between 2 interstate exits. We were looking up at the stars, enjoying the quiet atmosphere of the crickets, glad to have a temporary relief from all of the usual traffic noise. I heard something and shushed my husband, even though he hadn't said anything. Was that screaming? Yes, it was a woman screaming like nothing I had ever heard before. It sounded like she was getting murdered. In between blood-chilling screams, she was screaming out, "Help me! Help me!" I look at my husband. We were both really freaked out. The more she screamed, the closer she was getting to the house. I could eventually see a figure running along the median of the highway, making their way closer to the part of highway that was in front of our house. Our house is a good ways back from our driveway, but not far enough that you can't see anything. If we could see her, that meant that she could see us. We have no yard security lights, stupid I know, so we were in complete darkness. We could still see the highway perfectly fine due to the house across from us who still had their Christmas lights up. I threw my cig in my yard and back up to stand in the doorway of the house, pulling out my phone to call 911. She is still in the median of the road, screaming. If anyone else in the surrounding houses heard her, they pretended like they didn't. Kevin runs past me inside to get on his jacket and shoes. I tell him not to go out there, but he ignores me and gets dressed anyway. As soon as he is out of sight, I see a red car barrel up the road and pull over next to where the lady was at. With her in the median, there was still a stretch of highway between them. There was a man driving. I couldn't see what he looked like. I only heard his voice. He was yelling that he was going to kill her and calling her a bitch. It looked like he was throwing stuff at her out of the window, maybe clothes. As soon as she sees him pull over, she starts running straight towards our yard. By that time, I was already on the phone with the police officers, but as I said, I live out in the woods, pretty far out of town I'll add, so it would take them a bit to get there. I yell for my husband. I tell my 9-year-old son to go in our room where the baby is and close the door. He can hear the whole thing and was pretty frightened. My husband runs out onto the porch and into the yard towards her. He asks if she's okay, and she says that she had gotten a ride home from this guy, and halfway down the road, he started acting really creepy. He refused to let her out where she told him to, and kept driving with her in the car. She looked behind her seat, pretending to look at a car behind them, and saw a roll of duct tape. Fearing for her life, she jumped out of the moving car and just started running down the road, screaming for help. Kevin starts to lead her towards the house, and by now is also on the phone calling the police, having gathered more information that I wasn't able to give them when I had called. They told him to stay on the line with them until an officer showed up. He lets her in the house and her face looks terrible. She is red and bleeding in a couple of spots, road rash from when she had jumped out. She also said that he had hit her before she was able to escape. She came in and we locked our door, knob, deadbolt, and chain. We stood together near the window waiting for the police to show up, Kevin giving updates and answering questions on the phone. No, they haven't gotten here yet. Yes, his car is still parked across the highway. It's a red sedan in front of a house with lots of blue porch Christmas lights, he told them. I was trying not to lose my shit when there was a loud bang on our door. The man was yelling, "I know you're in there! I saw you running! The people in there can't protect you!" I shouted through the door that he needed to leave our property, and if he was smart, get in his car and drive off. I told him we were on the phone with the police. The answer he gave was the worst one I could ever hear. He says, "Go ahead, call the police." I don't care. They won't be here in time. Bang, bang, bang on the door over and over. The woman was freaking out and crying, saying, "Help me, please help me," over and over again. I ran to the kitchen to get a large knife just in case. We had a huge solid iron door, but our windows were easily breakable. If he wanted to get in badly enough, he certainly could. My husband just came from our bedroom with his gun when a squad car pulled up in the yard, 2 more following behind it, and 1 across the street where his car was. He took off on foot running. They tended to the woman and got her home safely. Turns out she lives on the across the highway from us 5 houses to the left. It had been 2 hours later and they still hadn't found him. There are a lot of places to hide in these woods. I just hope he hides far away from here. My ex-girlfriend went missing almost 10 years ago. Today I might have found some evidence as to what happened. So my ex-girlfriend went missing almost 10 years ago. Last time she was seen, she was in a red dress, on her way to a party in Cluj-Napoca in a red 1999 Fiat Seicento S with a license plate CJ96TAT. On that day, she left to go to the party but never arrived and was later declared missing. Today, on my way back from work, I stopped to check up on one of my aunts and uncles who I haven't seen in a while. Now, since I was a teenager, I collected license plates. I didn't steal them of cars on the street. I just took them off scrap cars. My uncle said, "While I went out fishing a few days ago, I found this in the river," and gave me a rusty old license plate he found in the river. And guess what? The plate text was CJ96TAT, the same as my ex-girlfriend's car. What I think happened is that on that day she might have lost control of the car and crashed in the Somesh River. I'm not 100% sure of this. Update. So after I reported it, they started searching the Somesh River for any evidence of a red Fiat Seicento. They found the car in the river, all bashed up, as if it rolled over before ending up in the river, with the driver's door open and no human remains inside the car. Everyone's theory is that since she might have lost control of the car, rolled over and landed in the river and managed to escape the car. While trying to flag down another motorist for help, her purse and phone were still in the car. She got kidnapped and most probably raped and killed. The police are still working on the case, however. Update 2. The case has gone cold again. The police said that she is definitely dead and either drowned in her escape from the car or got kidnapped while trying to flag down another motorist. Either way, she is most likely dead, and there is no way to find her body after 10 years.